Good morning, guys. I am going to be starting a new morning show, and this is the first episode. I have guest Dan Shahan, and I want you to introduce yourself. But first off, I am going to be doing this weekly. I want to do it kind of a new comic book every week and go over what's coming out for the week and talk a little bit of news and kind of separate it from my show that I do in the evening just because that show in the evening is supposed to be more like just having fun and everything else. So, Dan, go for it. Introduce yourself.
Hey, Tristan, thanks for inviting me on the show. I'm Dan Shaheen. I got a little channel on YouTube called Comic Book News with Dan Shaheen. I talk to industry folks on the publishing side, on the creative side, and even on the retailing side and on the retail software development side. It's kind of like inside baseball comic book stuff. But I also like to talk to creators and talk about new comics, and I just love reading comics. So thanks for inviting me.
Oh yeah, no problem. I think I found you when you first interviewed Steve Jeppy. So I've been watching your channel for a while. I know you had Fragaboom on recently, which is awesome, going over the Holy Terror and all that fun stuff. So I think today we should look at new comic books, but I want to talk a little bit. I didn't do a dedicated video to the Joe Bennett stuff just because I know a lot of people had covered it to death, right? A lot of people talking about this, and I don't know the whole entire situation. I know that Al Ewing kind of separated himself after the fact, which was a little weird in my eyes, but um from my understanding of this, in case you guys don't know, there was a political cartoon going around, and it was basically showing from his political adversaries. I don't know in that situation, and I'm gonna be the first to say that I have no. He could be an anti-Semite, he could not be. I don't know. What I find a little disjointed about the situation is that Marvel and Al Ewing waited until after the fact, after Immortal Hawk was kind of done, and it was a good book, and it a lot of people really enjoyed it. When this cartoon, I think, wasn't it from 2017? It was quite a few years old. And what did you think about that? Did you hear about them finally just officially cutting ties with them this last week?
So it's a little bit weird. This cartoonist had a couple things that happened. Like a few months ago, there was a panel in the Hulk.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, it had a jewelry store window in reverse with a Star of David on it, and it said jewelry instead of jewelry, right? And so at the time, it's a negative stereotype, I guess. At the time, he said, "Oh well, I was doing it backwards, and I just made a mistake, and I was watching Uncut Gems, which had a lot to do with the diamond industry and what have you, and it was sort of written off." And then I guess this new political cartoon emerged, and I believe they're in Brazil. The cartoon's in Brazil, right? And the guy who leads Brazil is this dude named Bolsonaro, and he's not a nice guy. And so he wrote some political cartoons showing Bolsonaro as this heroic knight and his opponents, some of whom I believe are Jewish, I'm not sure, looking like rats. Okay. And which is trope in anti-Semitic cartoons going way back, right, to Nazis and before. So they decided to sort of cut ties with him now at this point. Now that the series is over and they can wrap and they can sell a complete graphic novel, now they've decided to cut ties with the guy. So, I don't know if it's a fair rap or not. I mean, the guy's, it's okay to have political opinions, and political cartoons, which is what this was, traffic heavily in stereotypes and drawings of that nature. But there's a line that you can cross, I think. And some people seem to think he crossed it. I'm looking for the image right now. I don't have a copy of the image to show.
Oh, yeah. See, I seen the image, and I don't know. I know enough politics about America, and that's about it. So, I don't play heavy into politics. At one point, I may have at least followed it, but at this point, I don't. So, knowing, another country's politics, I wouldn't have known, even who he was depicting. So, me looking at it, I'm like, I know political cartoons have been around since cartooning has been a thing. So, I don't necessarily know that he's with both instances together. It's kind of suspicious a little bit, but then again, it's like, regardless of his political beliefs, the idea that they waited until after they could put it, in omnibus together, waited until after they could put everything together is a little weird to me, because you cannot tell me for an instant that they didn't know those things existed. And it seems kind of like, I don't know, throwing someone under the bus to save your own self.
Here we go.
There
I
we
found
go.
the image. Okay. Well, so I mean, that's not going to obviously stop this guy from getting royalties on the trade paperback collections, hardcover collections, and anything else. So it only goes so far. Now, you can see what's going on down here.
There we go. We can see that a little better.
To me, it's arguable that this is an anti-Semitic image, unless you know personally about these folks. And I don't know enough about them to say if they're Jewish or not, and if this is intended to, because otherwise it's sort of, the conquering hero slaying the whatever.
Right.
His political opponents.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think the whole situation is kind of a shame, but I don't. And then that kind of begs the question: does stuff you do previously work? Whether it's in 2017 or 2007, should that affect your current work? Even if I don't know, did he ever apologize for that, or was it something they just kind of swept under the rug?
This is it looks like this was recent, but I don't know when this was screen capped. Either way, I don't think you need to apologize for who you support politically in your own country, per se. I mean, Bolsonaro is a pretty bad dude and has done a lot of bad stuff. So it's a kind of a tricky situation, and he's a bit of a kind of a fascist. So, but again, like you, I don't know enough about politics outside of the United States to comment intelligently on the context of this image. So it's tough for me to say.
Yeah. Well, regardless, he's definitely talented. He's definitely going to be able to seek some sort of work. It's just a shame that it came down to this point where, we have to apologize. I don't care who you support. I literally don't care. As long as you're kind of, you can separate your art from. I'm very. I've always been able to separate art from artists. Like, one thing I do want to talk about, and a lot of people were bringing up, was this stuff with Mark Waid coming back to Superman. A lot of people were like, we know now that he is kind of a dick. He kind of treats people around the office like a dick. Can you separate that? And a lot of people cannot. And I've always been one that I can kind of, I can separate it. As long as you have a talent, and Mark Waid is somebody that clearly has a talent. He is and will always be known for, specifically stuff like Kingdom Come, but of course his Flash run and Birthright, and he can write Superman. I have no problem.
Superman is his all-time favorite character, and he's been barred. He was barred from writing the character by DC's Paul Levitz, who retired a while ago, and he was not allowed to touch the character for whatever reason. I don't really know the reasons behind that.
I don't know either. I thought it was the deal.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I guess I was under the assumption it was the deal, but you might be right. I could be wrong on that story.
He was carrying on the Paul Levitz edict, as far as I understand. And when I talked to Brian Hitch a couple months ago, he let me know behind the scenes that this book was coming, the Wade Hitch Superman. I wasn't allowed to talk about it, but now the news is out. It's super exciting. It's going to be one of those oversized Black Label books. And
yeah, I want it.
If you know Brian Hitch, he's going to take advantage of every square centimeter of that expanded canvas and give us a Superman book. It's literally going to be unlike any other Superman book before, just because of the dimensions of the book and stuff, and what I know Hitch brings to the table on any book. It's going to be amazing.
Oh yeah. And then kind of, on the same subject, if you don't support something because of Mark Waid, then again, it puts us to that point where we're not supporting a good artist like Brian Hitch, who deserves to have work and be working in the industry. It's like, I think for me at this point, I'm at least to the point where I'm like, yeah, I can give somebody a second and third chance. I have no problem with that, as long as they're not treating me badly. He's never personally treated me badly, ever. And I think
Mark's a good guy. Mark's a good guy. He's a friend of mine now. I had him on my show, and we talked about what his a Kickstarter project he was working on, and we became friends after that. And then, when I had Ethan Van Sciver on my show the first time,
oh boy,
Mark didn't think that was a great idea at first, but he checked it out and watched it and supported me the whole time and gave me support, and has been a really good guy, even though I've not been uncritical of his role in everything that went on. I think in reality, Mark Waid he's the father of Comicsgate, in the sense that it was his reaction and overreaction to what was going on that brought so much attention to them, and kind of kickstarted this, sort of backlash crowdfunding thing that happened, and really just, did nothing but put money in Richard Meyer's pockets, really.
Yeah, and then by extension, Ethan and all the rest of them that have kind of came along, and I didn't even hear about the situation with that until a little bit later on, until it was already started. So I was just like, okay, I am taking other people's word for it. And then I learned my lesson from taking other people's word on it. So to God.
Yeah, so like, what I think is that in the Comicsgate situation is pretty complex, because I think there are legitimate gripes from people with conservative opinions about sort of being blackballed or whatever. I think that's kind of legit to talk about. But I think when you weaponize that into a lawsuit against Mark Waid the way it happened, that's just kind of scummy. And then when you just harp on this one thing, this anti-SJW, you beat this drum because it makes so much money. I really think that's what it is. It's the amount of money they're able to pull in on YouTube and super chats, as well as through crowdfunding, just because they're willing to sort of like, keep the action going and talking about this subject. That's, every YouTuber out there who's not talking about cancel culture and all that stuff, and just going nuts with it. So I think it's a pretty standard money-making tool at this point.
Well, if you have an enemy, you can completely dehumanize the enemy, and then you can gripe on them as much as you want. And I think I kind of noticed it. I noticed it a lot more lately, I guess I would say. But like, if you're, and I cover the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard stuff, right? So yeah, I do make a lot of videos on news updates when it comes on that. But if you're covering something, if you're constantly going, well, I don't like Vita Ayla, I don't like Vita Ayla, I don't like Vita Ayla, I don't like Vita Ayla. And if that's if that's 90% of your content, there's an issue there. Like, and then when I really got irritated with it, and I may just have a little bit of protection against Stephanie Phillips because I love her and she's sweet and she came on the channel and she treated me like a person. And she sent me some comics, and well, they started going against her, and I'm like, what? Stop. She's talented. She's clearly doing really well. Like, if you haven't read Nuclear Family, you absolutely should. Oh, it's so good. And I was just like, okay, yeah, the veil has been, or the curtain has been taken back. I see you for what you are, and it's unfortunate. Sometimes it takes that one person, but yeah, it's definitely a happening all over. I think a lot of people are starting to notice it too. Like everything is woke, everything is
Negative,
anti-gender.
negative, it's totally true. There's a negativity bias, right? Like
Oh
people
yeah,
want to negativity. It's just a scientifically proven fact, and that's a good way to get attention, and attention equals money in the YouTube economy, right? So this is why we see a lot of these pop culture focused channels that are strictly about like what I hate about what's going on, why the Marvel MCU is, you know, is going off the rails, and I just it's fun. You know, you can have those opinions. It's okay. And I just think when your channel is focused on it, I don't know, you get in a negative mindset. I want to talk more about what I like and talk to creators about and people about the comics that they like, not the stuff that they hate.
yeah,
So
I totally get it. Like I'll cover the news, right? So that there's something negative, but I'll always try to at least kind of even it out, whether it's with a comic book review or talking about something, that's like yesterday, just covering the Hawkeye thing, the new show, like this looks fucking fantastic. Why are you not talking about this? Oh, but instead we title it the MCU, like you said. So I try to kind of balance it out because I don't think there's a way to get away from all the negativity, just covering news, period. But I do think there is a way to kind of balance that out. And you're gonna take a hit. I definitely take a hit on the positive videos. Nobody wants to hear why you love this comic book, but
yeah,
okay, some people do.
weird.
It is really weird.
Some
So
people, some people do, and I think the people that like Nerdette, I watch a lot of these different channels. I'm not like a everyday Nerdette listener, but like
right,
hop into your channel and check it out. And what I like about your channel is that you really go hard on the stuff you like as well. Like I just like the fact that you have these books and these creators that you really love, and you know, you try to pump them up and focus on them. Talk about the other stuff. Like, dude, nobody talks about more stuff. Like, I'll talk about anything on my channel.
right,
You know what I mean? But
right.
it's all about how much and the focus and what your channel's all about. That's why I like what you got going on your channel.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I try to find that balance. Sometimes it's hard to do, and sometimes, there are things that need to be talked out, like with the Joe Bennett stuff that are negative. But generally, there is a way to find that balance, and I think slowly it's definitely getting better. Like this week, did you see the retcon with Sin Pass storyline? Like that's
No.
awesome.
The spider. You know what?
God, you're missing.
I saw it referenced. You're talking about a Spider-Man retcon. Yeah, I saw it referenced, but I didn't have a chance to dive in. I've been so busy this week.
Oh, I know, it's just awesome. There is the that Nick is the Norman Osborn and Gwen Stacy romance. I was all like, yes, thank you. That is that is freaking awesome. Robert Willing, let me get the super chat here. I've noticed having EVS on my channel. If you get to sit him down and talk comics or his work, he comes off like a pro that he is. If not, he's all ego. And I don't and I understand that. Thank you so much, Robert. I do.
I think that's true.
I get
I've had
that.
him on twice,
But
right? And and both times were different based on the way that I approached the interview.
so that may have a little bit to do with it. I won't personally have him on my channel just because, and I do like bringing on people for Ask the Experts, professionals and stuff, but I won't have him on just because he's trolled me for like 2 years, just incessantly calling me names and shit. So I'm just like, yeah, buddy, I'm not giving you my platform, even though his is much bigger. Not saying that his is much bigger, but I'm not gonna have somebody on that sits there and finds me on other people's live streams to call me a bitch. It's not gonna happen. It's a
Well,
little psychotic.
I know how you feel. All those dudes, a lot of those dudes came after me after the first one in the comments and stuff. Nothing serious, and like I had to develop a very thick skin. And the number one thing to remember is just that a lot of his audience are not necessarily comics fans. They're more of like conservative culture war kind of people. I'm not saying all of them are. There's a lot of guys that like comics that watch that, but his audience is beyond just like a comics reading audience. And it's got a lot of people that love to troll. Like that's the signature thing of those of many comics game fans is they enjoy trolling. And once you understand that and you can go like trolling is trolling, who cares? You got to let it roll off your back.
Right. Exactly.
Then, you know, they when they have nothing on you because all they can do is spout nonsense most of the time, frankly.
I know at first I took it personally and I'm like, why? I don't know you. I have no idea what you are behind that username or that multiple usernames, but I don't care. It's the internet. Welcome to it, Tristan. Like you could take it things personally.
That's it. You know, it thickens your skin and I think you have to, if you're going to be doing what you're doing and what I'm doing, putting your opinions out there and going out there and talking to people and being truthful about what you feel, then there's going to be people who disagree with you.
Yep.
And there's going to be people who have no weapon except to just spout like just the amount. You should go to some of my streams, some of the EVS streams, and look at the comments.
I was in them.
Yeah, you were there, right? Yeah, you were there watching. But I mean, I'm not just talking about the live stream comments. I'm talking about the comments below.
Oh no.
Very passionate, very meticulous, and very like, I'm going to defend my point. And I love to just go in there and kind of mess with them in the comments just because it's fun. I had to flip it around and be like, wait a minute, why take it as personally at all? Just have some fun with it. That's when I did my Cyber Frog review, you know, which was a little bit trolling the trolls a little bit. And, but then at the same time, and then I had EVS back on in order to say like, look, in our first interview, I thought I was in a weird headspace at the time for many reasons, physical, like health problems and weird, crazy stuff going on.
Right.
And so I was like in a really weird space. My wife watched the thing and she goes like, damn, this isn't you. Like if you watch all my other interviews, it's nothing like them. And I thought like, yeah, you know, no matter what, if I'm going to say that you can disagree with people civilly, you have to be willing to treat them civilly when they come into your house. You know what I mean? You got to be a good person. And so that's why I had the second stream and tried to I still disagreed with the guy. We had a good conversation, but I think the tone was a little bit, you know, amped down.
Well, and I do think there are, my biggest issue with it, I think, is there are real conversations to be had. There are real conversations within a lot of that trolling that can be had, like whether it is, you know, people like Bill Willingham being a conservative in the industry and kind of getting blackballed by different news corporation sites, or, you know, talking about, you know, rates and page rates and
I'm
different
in talks,
things.
By the way, with Bill right now to talk. He's one of my all-time favorite writers and creators and deserves as much attention as he can get, no matter what his opinions are. Exactly.
He's so talented. But unfortunately, it seems like those conversations are being hidden underneath the other stuff. And I think I think instead of having the conversation of, oh, you know, I was blackballed, well, let's figure out why and let's figure out how that can be fixed. But unfortunately, a lot of times people do not want to do that.
I don't know. I think Bill Willingham's a good example of somebody who's got conservative opinions that are even reflected in his work if you read it closely enough.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that continues to get mainstream work through one of the biggest, wokest companies out there. So,
talking about DC?
Yeah. Well, DC, Time Warner, now Discovery Channel or whatever it is, right? Like they've worked with him extensively in the past with all that Fables stuff. Fables was given not the toppest tier treatment, but for Vertigo books, it really was. It sold so well in bookstores. It sold so well to women as well as men and comics fans and non-comics fans.
Sold well enough to get a video game. They made that the Telltale video game, and now it's coming back. Like, he's clearly doing well. I love him. I think he does a great job as far as writing goes. I'm glad to see he's coming back.
He's the great. Did you ever read The Elementals?
No, I have not.
Okay, that's a book that Willingham wrote in the 80s and drew, by the way. He's a fantastic pencil.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, he's got illustrations in the original Dungeons and Dragons handbook, player's handbook.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
He goes all the way back to role-playing games, and that's where he created some of the characters from the Elementals in a Villains and Vigilantes module, if you know that role-playing game. Mm-hmm. And then wrote Elementals. If you can seek out Elementals, you can't find it in graphic novel form. It's only because the rights are up in the air. But it's one of the greatest mature readers superhero books ever created, and it was created way before any of the other ones that you might like Authority or those kind of books.
Authority's so good, though. I probably would like it. I love the Authority. I love even looking back at some of. I know today I'm gonna look at the new comics, but I know today Superman and the Authority 3 comes out by Grant Morrison. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
It's such a funny book. It takes the piss out of everything. Are you reading anything new?
I'm reading that. Well, I have that one. I have number 2. I'm waiting to get number 1 and get caught up on that. But I read new comics. I go to the comic book store every week, and I buy stuff off the shelf. I go to North Coast Role Playing in Eureka, California. And hey, Barry. And I subscribe mostly to, these days I've canceled almost everything Marvel and almost everything DC too. I get,
oh my goodness,
subscribe to I get both Usagi Yojimbo titles regularly. I get what else is on my list? That's the big one that I look forward to the most. I was reading the Hickman X-Men stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But dropped. I dropped.
I don't blame you there. You're missing, though. I will say there's a lot that at DC that if you're going to pick up, I don't know if you're a fan of the original Alan Moore Swamp Thing. Graham V is doing such a good job on this new Swamp Thing, this Levi Kamai. We're getting the Indian version of Swamp Thing, and it's telling his story. It is so
wow.
One good, if you're going to check out one title at DC, I would say that is the best one to check out because it's so reminiscent of early Swamp Thing, and it's awesome. I read a lot of indies though too. Have you checked out any Otinian's Department of Truth or Noctera, any of those that are kind of the mainstream ones that a lot of people went to Image?
Not yet. The one that looks interesting to me that I want to pick up is Geiger.
So good. It is so good.
Mostly because I like Gary Frank's artwork a lot. Although I thought that Watchmen monstrosity that he did with Jeff Johns was awful. I'll give him a chance on some original characters.
What?
So I like.
You didn't like Doomsday Clock?
It was horrible. Yeah, it was horrible. Beautiful artwork. But I'm a Watchmen, The Watchmen is my favorite superhero book. It's not my favorite Alan Moore book. That's From Hell. But The Watchmen is right up there among the greatest books of all time. I've read it probably 20, 30 times, maybe. And there's none of the works. I call them Watchmen babies, right? Any of the works that followed on the before Watchmen, the prequels, the movie,
right,
the miniseries, they are all lesser derivative works in my mind. Maybe I'm just a snob, but if you were to talk about books I loved last year was Batman's Grave, was the only thing I was super into.
I totally dropped that book too. I know I shouldn't
Well,
have, but I did. I just had too many on my pull.
I'm a Hitch fanatic, you know, and then Warren Ellis is one of the greats. He's another guy who now is in the middle of a cancel type scandal, right? But that book was a really good book.
Right. I need to go back and read that. I actually forgot about that. I can't. I just had too much stuff on my pull, and I kind of canceled that one out. I should pick up the trade, but um, yeah, it's definitely something to check out. But as far as the indies, I think they're almost the better scene right now. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good going on. I mean, okay, so maybe a couple good at Marvel, maybe like maybe the Defenders and Amazing Fantasy, a couple good titles. But if you're going to pick up something, I think going to the indies is smart at this point because you're getting different stories. You're even getting like Ram V, who writes an awesome Swamp Thing, writing Layla Starr, which was another really good story that he did that just wrapped up. I'm loving these. Let's take a look here at the new ones. I kind of want to go. There's a lot coming out that I'm just skipping over.
Yeah, me too. I got a good indie pick.
That's really unfortunate because a lot, my biggest. What's that?
I'm sorry. No, go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was gonna say one I look at a lot and love is one called Ginseng Roots by a guy named Craig Thompson.
Yeah.
And that is an amazing book. That's the book that it comes out bi-monthly. It's by a guy Craig Thompson. He did a graphic novel called Blankets.
Oh, okay.
A long time ago. That was a huge hit in the like mainstream literary kind of world. And then this book is like him. It's almost documentary and going back to his roots and but it's just beautifully drawn. It's an amazing book. Sorry to interrupt you. Our audio is.
Oh no, you're fine. I was gonna say, I'll have to check it out. But my biggest thing is with Marvel is it drives me crazy to have to. Okay, so I don't even know what event's going on at this point, but you have to read Carnage 1 and then read Agony 1 and then read Scream 1 and then go over here and read Amazing Spider-Man 75. Like, why do they make it so like, okay, so I know comics aren't for kids. I get that. They're just not anymore, right? But if they want to get that audience back, if they want to get any sort of younger audience, they cannot make it that difficult. There's no reason why you should have to follow one storyline by 5 different number ones and then one in the main line and then one. It's ridiculous. DC's not even that bad. Like, I don't even know what these agony
price are. Too, they're so expensive too that to expect anybody, let alone a young person, to keep up with all those books at those kind of cover prices is not realistic.
No, and I think it's a conversation we have way too often on here. Is manga is super popular with kids, and it's really, really inexpensive. It's a lot like, what is it? The Shonen Jump app is $2 a month. $2 a month for kids to go and read a bunch of titles. And then they also separate their like graphic novels a little bit better, where you could buy a compendium and it's going to cost you $125. You can just buy this small book, 100 pages in it, $9.99. Like, they need to start realizing that their audience is aging and they're not going to be young forever. And they need to figure out
the economics behind how manga gets created and how it gets to the States even. And by the time it gets to the States, like, all the creative costs are already sunk right in those books. So now to just print those paperback size black and white books is astoundingly cheap. Like, so cheap you can't believe it compared to full color comics or let alone graphic novels. That the economics are just like, it's almost night and day comparing the two.
See, and I've never really learned too much about that, but it's have you actually here before we even go into this too much, have you seen the webtoons? The how
Yeah,
they're trying to
so it's
kind
a
of trying to
perfect segue into that, because I think that's where we're going to be able to see a new model start to emerge that could, that could go toe to toe with the manga model, maybe.
yeah, if there's a hope for anything, it's that. I really, really like, I don't use webtoons. I didn't have it downloaded previously. I checked out Steven Sajik's works on it before, but other than that, that was like my experience with webtoons. And it was so like it's very slice of life, but it was so cute. Like it reminded me of like Tomasi's Super Sons, the way they interacted, the way they kind of like fed off of each other. Not just, I mean, Jonathan's not in it, but the way they kind of did that. And then now Marvel is doing those, I think they're called Infinity Comics, on their new Marvel Unlimited ad. And oh boy. Some of them are really good. The Jeff
Okay.
one was real. What's that?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just not a fan of digital
You
comics
froze.
in general. I'm not a fan of digital.
Oh,
So those ones are tough. The only thing that's come out recently that's really interesting to me is the Substack stuff.
oh yeah.
Uh, yeah, all the guys go into Substack. That's a little bit more interesting because those are creator owned. So they are really trying to take out the middleman and remove the publishers altogether. Somebody like Hickman, if he can go directly to an audience and bypass Marvel, then he's got a lot more control, over what he can do in his career.
Well, the only thing I say, I feel like it could be the shakeup that the industry needs, but the only problem with something like that is you have to have a previously established, platform. You have to have enough fans to go over there and want to spend money each month. So when something happens like that, and then we see a lot of people leave social media, I feel like it's going to be like a catch-22 where they're not actually able to leave social media for one, because they're not going to have advertisement, right? They're used to DC and Marvel advertising everything for them, and now it's all up to them. A lot of them look really, really like I am absolutely excited for Tinian's Blue Book. I think he does a great job with those like conspiratorial stuff, like,
Hmm.
and I find it super interesting. Um, but and then Chip Zdarsky, I think, is the other one that looks really good. But I don't
In
know
your
how
comments,
something do they collect?
in your comments, somebody's asking about Mage and Matt Wagner, and I happened to be sitting in front of this. This is a convention sketch from 1990 from
Oh my
Matt
gosh.
Wagner. I ran into him at a convention. I was young, 15 years old, and I said, "Hey, you're Matt Wagner." And he said, "Yeah, you got a comic book backing board?" I said, "Yeah." What's your favorite character? And he just drew Mirth from the Mage books. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I saw it in the comments, and I thought
That's
you might get
awesome.
that.
That's so cool. Oh yeah, I see it now.
That was one of my all-time favorite comics as a kid back in the 80s too. Like that, Elementals, Mage, both came out from the same company, Kamiko,
Right.
whatever you want to call it. And that was that's the salad days, as they say, for me.
Have you been able to go to any cons since the pandemic has kind of been around? I know they're kind of starting to open back up. I seen a couple people were getting out there, but I didn't see too much.
I live in a rural area, and so I live in a rural area, so we don't have a lot of conventions around here, and I'm an antisocial curmudgeon, so like I don't seek out events full of lots of people. That's why I love the internet and my show and all this stuff, because I can talk right to Nerdette right here face to face, and there's no risk of COVID transmission.
Right, exactly. I'm the same exact way. I know there's some that are going to be coming around, and I'm just like, well, that's a lot of work and a lot of people that I just don't want to talk to. Not that I don't want to. It's just like I just I'm awkward. I just no. I'm good on that. Um,
I'm
but
with you.
back to the Substack thing. Um,
Yeah.
I know there is a lot of people that are kind of like, what happens at this point when you've got all of the big talent kind of leaving? I know there are a lot of still big names out there, right? But with these people leaving, I can't hardly imagine that it's going to shake anything up. And I know a lot of people are kind of hoping it does. But what's it
They're
going to
not
shake?
really leaving. Nobody's really leaving. Hickman is just like, I'm going to do my Substack thing for my creator-owned stuff, but he's going to still write Marvel books. So,
Right. And I know Tinian's still writing Joker till at least April. So I mean, they're doing their own thing, but they they're going to at least show up in an anthology or show up in something that everybody wants to see them, and then it's going to sell just so much more because they finally do.
Maybe, yeah, it just depends. If one of them gets a breakout hit that starts on Substack, then maybe. But part of it is like, I don't know. I don't know how much I'm going to be willing to pay for like PDFs emailed to me.
Yeah.
Especially
if you don't like digital comics.
They stink, Nerdette. Let's be clear.
I've had to read digital comics for 3 years now since my shop. So I'm completely used to it. I don't mind it at all anymore, but there is such a different experience. And I think
it's the same price in a second. If you had to choose and you're paying the same price, which one are you going to choose?
Well, of course, physical. Anybody would, I think.
Totally. There's no comparison there. And that's what they've got kind of wrong in their model. And they think that they're going to get through it with, I don't know, adding more special effects in their comics and making them like motion comics, and they're almost cartoons. But that's not what people want out of their comics.
No, people definitely want that physicality. They're like, if for the webtoons or for those weird affinity comics, fine, I'll read those. But if I had the choice, like one of my favorite books last year was or I guess it would have been 2 years ago now. Oh my goodness. Steven Stajek's Harleen. So I read it digitally. I reviewed it digitally, and then I ordered a physical copy of it later. And you notice so much more. And you're so much more engulfed in the story than you are because I read it on my phone. Like it's teeny tiny. You know what I mean?
And even if you read it on a tablet, it doesn't work. You can never get a double page spread where it doubles the size of the page, right? And things matter, like the glossiness of the paper and the types of coloring chosen for the types of paper. Those are decisions they're making when they make those comics that pretty much get just obliterated when they go to digital, because who cares?
Right. And then DC decides when they do their digital ones, instead of actually doing a digital format, they just cut the page in half and it looks goofy.
It's ridiculous is what it is, because comics are a page-based medium, right? And so like if you don't have the whole page to look at, you got nothing. So
I totally get it. I've gotten so used to it just because I have no choice. I have no choice. If I want to read, it's going to be a digital format. Now, I was looking at those really weird Marvel, I think they're called Affinity Comics. They're basically their version of a web comic. But I think the difference is with that is they put it on their own app instead of putting it on Webtoons, whereas they're not going to get that Webtoons audience. They're not going to get all those kids that go to Webtoons to read. And they're just, if you want to read them, you got to go to their app. And they're really like, the one I was reading, I think I talked about it the other day. It was the Captain America one. Like, probably 20% of the dialogue was blacked out, and it just says something nationalistic, something racist.
Oh, okay.
I was like, wait, what? Are we actually doing this? Are we to the point in our comic books where we can't have evil be evil? We have to pretend? Like, I was like,
that should say something lazy by the writer, because that's all that is.
Exactly. And I was like, wait, you actually paid someone for this. Ah, okay. You're the idiot then, Marvel. Because like you can't make a comic book and I want to know why someone's evil. I want to know what they've done, not just said something nationalistic. What? Okay. All right. I guess so.
That's why
so I think that's a huge difference between that.
Ethan Coates' Red Skull stuff was actually pretty interesting. Like, whether you agree with the point or not that he was making, at least he was like laying out a thesis for what he thought was wrong with that, way of thinking. And so I thought I gave him credit.
Oh yeah. That. Yeah, that was the Red Skull blogger thing, right? Or the I guess he was kind of trying to make him like Peterson. See, I don't know enough about Peterson to even like have a good objective opinion about it, but I was like, all right, it's new, and I think we're gonna see, like, we've seen social media added into comics a lot lately. Like the whole premise behind Blue and Gold, Dan Jurgens' book, is Booster Gold wanting to be a social media star, and it works really well. I think you just have to have the right character for that to work. And people are like, wait, Red Skull is an evil motherfucker. He's not gonna train people through the internet. You know what I mean? Like, I think I think it works with a good character. Red Skull, we're just so used to being a real Nazi, not a blogger. I give him credit. It's a little
not a little weirdo Canadian professor from somewhere, right? Who talks like Kermit the Frog. But I thought that it was interesting that he was trying to draw that line, and that he would even bring that sort of like current politics into comics, which a lot of people have a problem with. I think we need more of that, not less of that. We need more people expressing interesting political opinions in comics than just telling the same old action story again and again.
Well, I mean, that's the first time I've heard that. No, not really. I don't mind politics in comics, though. I don't think you're ever going to get away from that. Comics have been in politics since the inception of it. Sure, you have like your just straight up action stories. You have your straight up, like, I love, Bane breaking the Batman's back. Yeah, you're going to have that. But there are, even in what is it? The current Fear State, they're doing, misinformation kind of thing. They're doing stuff with rioting and stuff with, like, the whole thing is about masks. So I do think there is a way that can be done for the allegory. It just depends on how it's done.
Reflect our culture back at us through the lens of the artist. And if you look at, like, somebody in the comments mentioned V for Vendetta as one of their favorite books. That's my perfect example of, there is no more political comic than that, and there's really not many better comics than that as well. He had a really strong point to make about anarchy versus fascism in that book, and it was driven home again and again, repeatedly, in an explicitly political manner, but it made for a storytelling that was incredible and amazing. So I really love that combo. Personally, I love that combo.
But I think there's also a little bit of from when that came out to now, a little bit of a different social divide, whereas everything is seen through. There's a lot of people out there that don't realize how much fan they are of politics as compared to the actual books or the actual, entertainment or movies. You're really a fan of politics and your politics. So if you see something that may challenge your idea, you're going to instantly call it out and say it's bad. No, I think there's room for all of it to exist. Even,
Yeah,
stuff, whether it's conservative or liberal, whether it doesn't matter to me. It's there's all room for it to exist. It doesn't, like, I do something kind of trying to go against, I need to do an episode, but you know, there's just that narrative that all comics are woke, all comics are woke. So I go through every 2 weeks and kind of write down what is actually woke and what is actually just storytelling or, allegory. And it's generally like 5 to 10% of comics, and I include indies too. It's generally a very, very small number. And
absolutely.
it's funny to look at when you actually try to dismantle those ideas of that social divide. It's not as bad as what people say, and I think it's
Absolutely.
because people are a fan of the politics, not the comics, and that's
Well,
unfortunate.
they're not. It's not the politics. I don't think. I think it's the action. They like that. They like that trolling thing, and they like that like online yap 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 thing, and that's okay. It's got its place. It's fun, but the comics industry is so small that like for it to have like infected comics where you have to like pick a side and you choose what comics you like based on who the creators like or what groups they're in is totally nuts to me. Like I would never pick a comic for one reason or another that way. It comes down to the comics. Do I like reading the comics?
Right, exactly. Like
Yeah.
there's I had a comment the other day about, I was talking about May's book by Jeff Lemire, just came out. And they're like, how can you support him? He supports Antifa. I'm like, I don't know that that's even true, for one. And two, I don't care what these people's politics are. I enjoy their work. I've talked on here a bunch of times about how much I loved his Sweet Tooth. Oh, such a good story told. And then, with he's got, right now the Unbelievable Unteens and a bunch of, just absolutely, I don't care what your politics are, as long as you are telling a good story and it's worth the value, because comics are getting more expensive. So as long as I see the value in it, that's what should matter.
That's right. If you tried to apply those same standards to what movies you watched, then you really wouldn't watch anything in mainstream Hollywood, right? So because of the political affiliations of most of the directors and writers and actors and such in Hollywood. So to apply that to say like, oh, don't read Sweet Tooth because Lemire believes such and such is, I don't know, a little ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It absolutely is. But we are at a place of ridiculous, anyways, in general, when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, let me see what else I wanted to talk about.
I had one more. I actually wanted to make one more
before
point.
you get going.
I really think.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, one more point. In society in general, this is not just in comics. We got a whole sections of people, swaths of people separated by class, right? We got your 1%, and you got your middle class, and you got your lower class, etc. Now, these groups, if you took that middle class, they're the biggest class, and they work together. If they are motivated and working together based on their interests as a class, they have the political power. But if you can take them and split them up and segment them with race and gender and sexual politics and identity politics, then you have diluted that power base and you've given more power to those at the top who have a consolidated opinion of things. So this is where I feel like we're going wrong in that groups that could work together for their own common interests, like all comics creators sort of like helping each other promote independent comics work outside of the mainstream comics world. We've segmented that audience and segmented those creators such that they're going to have a harder time, getting traction, mainstream traction. And I hate.
Oh, yeah. Divide and conquer. That's exactly. Dan has a point right now. Divide and conquer, and that's exactly right. And if they can't do it with one thing, they're going to now do it on the vaccine, or now do it on any single thing you can think of. And if we could,
Bingo.
if people would just take the chance to actually, I think a lot of it is dehumanizing through the internet, right? So you don't see that person, you don't talk to them, you don't know their mannerisms of which they're saying something, so it dehumanizes them. If you could look at them and understand their point and actually have a conversation, I think a lot of what we look at the political divides would change, at least to the point of being at least more empathetic in that fashion.
Yeah, that is the key. You nailed it there. Is people have a hard time looking at things through another person's lens. Like personally, I'm vaccinated. My wife is vaccinated, but I know people who don't want to take Tylenol, because they don't want to put something in their body like that, or don't want to take, whatever vitamins they off the shelf. So I can totally see somebody going like, no, I don't want this thing in my body. Like I can see through their lens and kind of like at least not have to call them a bad person for having that decision.
Right, exactly.
Formed. Yeah.
It should be it really should be up to the individual. And a lot of times there's even like religious exemptions. And I don't think that we should ever trump somebody's religious views because of some medical necessity, kind of gone. Now, I will be the first to say I've been off for COVID. I'm sick right now with it. And I didn't get it bad, but I do wish I had been previously vaccinated. Now, is it the same for everybody? No, I don't know that. But I know how I feel. And I know how I wish I wish I wouldn't feel right now. So it's
totally
lived experience along with
yeah, that's a choice that you got to make, and you're dealing with the consequences. And I respect your choice. I think you've learned from that decision, and maybe you'll make a different decision going forward, but maybe not. Like when you look at this whole thing, this whole mess, and all the news that's emerging now about where this thing probably actually came from and how it was actually probably created, it's just like, how can you not distrust?
Yes, 100%
thing to you.
Yep, 100%. It's a little scary. Does Dan have a channel? Yes, he does. I will put it in the video or the comment section right now. I guess I should have. I will also put it in the description.
I do, and I have this thing called the $1 Million Mailbox. Oh, wait a minute, you can't even see me. $1 Million Mailbox. Let me turn my camera off for a second. Oh, P.O. Box 1163, Arcata, California, 95518. If you are a comics creator and you have comics that you want to have reviewed by a guy who used to own a comic shop, who's read comics since forever, who worked in a comic shop since he was 11 years old, and I bring in other people from the industry, like Larry Young, comics publisher from AIT Planet Lair, and others, will look at your book live on the air and give you the real deal in our $1 Million Comics Cam. So please think about sending your book in to me.
Oh, let me hide that real quick so you can see it a little bit better.
That'd be awesome.
There we go. Perfect.
Okay, yeah. $1 Million Mailbox, P.O. Box 1163, Arcata, California, 95518. Beautiful Arcata, California, by the way. It's fantastic here. I love it.
That would be nice. I can't imagine it's not nice there. I live in the Midwest and it's nasty all the time.
What part do you want to say?
Not live. The only reason I've had such issues with stalkers, it's like once I get rid of one of them, I check my spam and there's like threats and oh my god, yeah. I don't know if it's something you've dealt with or if it's being a woman on the internet, but my god, it is constant.
No, you're the only one who's ever stalked me so far.
Yeah, that's
You show up on
true.
all my live streams. You come in, you say, hey, and then you bail.
Usually I'm
So
just
thank you.
listening.
But thank you for watching that Dan Fraga stream and inviting me because of that. I was just talking to Dan, by the way, and he said he would love to come in and talk to you anytime.
Oh, I would love to get a hold of him. He's awesome. And you know, it's really nice to see like a different side of him, because the other side I've seen is kind of a little bit, you know, when he's with Ethan or something like that. It was nice to see just him talk about, you know, Frank Miller, or talk comics, or just talk the
Dude,
normal.
that's Dan Fraga. That's the one that's my friend Dan Fraga, right? When he's doing his Comicsgate thing, whatever. I don't watch those streams very much. Once in a
Right.
while, I'll drop in, and I'm not. It just doesn't turn me on what's going on in there. No big deal. It's just not my thing. So, but dude, nobody knows more about the industry, having worked in it, and is just passionate about comics and creators like Fraga. So he's gonna come
That's
back
awesome.
again and again for sure. I hope.
Oh, good. I really like his work, and I'm gonna have to send him an email because I'd like to have him on. He's a good guy. I think you know, I like doing the Ask the Experts, where I'm bringing on people that just want to talk, just want to share their, you know, lived experience, whether it's how they decided to come up with an idea, or like I had J.H. Williams on the other day, and he was just
Oh
he
yeah,
just wanted to talk about his Batwoman, and you know, the new book he's doing, Echolands, so good.
it's great.
And
It's great.
it's beautiful. Oh, his art is so beautiful. And
Nobody's better than that guy. Nobody.
no, the way he does his paneling and the little details, like absolutely stunning. And he just wants to come on and talk comics. I fucking love it. I love that.
I own a page of his original art. It's one of my all-time favorite. I own a page from Desolation Jones that he did with Warren
Oh
Ellis.
my goodness.
And I've been meaning to reach out to JH. I've seen him on a few other channels, so I've been meaning to reach out to him. I definitely need to talk to him, because if you check out my website, you can see a lot of my interviews there. If you go to comicbooknews.tv, that's where you want to go. Comicbooknews.tv. You'll see a bunch of my interviews there. That'll take you to my YouTube channel. You can check it out. I mean, I've interviewed, besides Steve Jeppe, Dark Horse's Mike Richardson, editor-in-chief Mike Richardson, Gary Groth, editor-in-chief of Fantagraphics, Ron Turner from Last Gasp, Dan Didio, formerly of DC. I've talked to Brian Hitch. I've talked to Eric Larson. I've talked to Mark Evanier. I've talked to, man, the list goes on and on. I think your viewers might really like some of my interviews.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's I love kind of going behind, you know, as consumers, we get to see the finished product, but learning the process I think is so fun too, and learning about the industry, and you know, kind of what happens behind the scenes is awesome. Like when I think you were the first one to have on Steve Jeppe after all of that happened with Diamond, and now we're seeing such a change with Diamond. It's insane.
Yeah, I've had Steve on twice, and he's told me I have an open door. Anytime I want him back in, he'll come. But to tell you the truth, I want to bring him in and talk just about comics with him, because, dude, he texts me all the time. I get texts all the time, little jokes and comic book trivia, little old Stan Lee interviews. He'll text me a link to, and that guy is the biggest. I wrote to him like, did you ever read this original Stan Lee How to Break Into Comics he wrote in the 40s? He's like, oh, I have a near mint copy, right?
That's awesome. Oh, that makes me feel bad for him though, with what he's going through with Diamond. Oh, that's gotta be hard.
Don't feel too bad for a guy who owns the Baltimore Orioles and his own museum and has been the king of comics for 20 years. Steve is going to be fine.
Oh, wow. I did not know he owned the Orioles. That's crazy.
Part owner.
Okay, well, I feel a little bit less bad, but still.
And believe me, he's got a business mind that does not stop ticking, so you have not heard the last from Diamond or Steve Jeppe. You'll see him come back in a big way, I think, in the next few years. In one way or another. It might be a surprising way. I don't think they're ever going to, you know, bestride the industry like a colossus like they once did.
Right.
But Steve is, dude, I've never met a sharper guy of his age. Never met anyone that just in command of all the facts and abilities and like complete control. He's just a really smart fella.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, that's really good to know. At least, like, with all of that went down with Diamond, it seemed like it was just one thing after another for him. And it was like, well, DC left, and then now, I guess Marvel's still using it, but also not. And like,
I got it behind the scenes thing. Okay, I don't go into details, but Steve stepped away from his company for a while, right, and had other people in charge. And it was some of those people that made the humongous blunders that led to the situation that we're in right now and led to Steve having to like take the reins. If you go back through the news and see like resignations from Diamond and stuff like that, and you can probably figure out what I'm talking about.
Okay. That actually makes a lot more sense. So at least he's got it back under control for the most part now.
Let's hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I gotta go. Okay. Tristan. I really appreciate this, though. This has been really fun.
Yeah, thank you for stopping by. I really have been wanting to have you on, and make sure you guys. I got his link pinned in the chat, and then his website is right down here below. But thank you so much for coming on. Make sure you guys check him out.
Thank you, Tristan. Maybe you can come on my show sometime and be on a panel. Yeah, do an interview. Great.
Yep.
Thanks a lot. See you around. Thanks everybody for watching. See ya.
Bye, Dan. All right. We are going to go over. Let me get the banner. There we go. We're going to let me fix my little thing here. I got to put my little name tag up, right? There we go. All right. We are going to go over new comic books. I want to make sure I'm going to do this every Tuesday morning. And I want to make sure that since it's, Tuesday and new comic book day or Wednesday, whichever day you pick them up, we go over the new books, right? So we can see what's going on. And I was going to do it with him, but I like getting his insight. He knows a lot of people. He does a great job on his channel. So I wanted to go over it, but let's check out. I haven't had a really good chance to check out the chat. So let's check it out. Hello, Joe Bustify and Incubus and Leo, Andrew and Hooded Justice, Death Clutch King, Shane. Hello, guys. Sorry, I wasn't ignoring the chat just when I have a guest. It is it's hard. Oh, I miss BM. She's awesome. And Proper Lives and Nick. Oh, how am I feeling? I'm rough this morning. Like, oh, that's okay, Robert. It's all taken care of now. Give accent. I know. Hello, PKL. And Lorenzo. I'm rough, and the weird thing is it's like exhaustion is probably the worst part of this. Like sleeping way too much, and then kind of I don't even know how to describe it. It's like deep bone pain. When you just like want to crack your knuckles and crack everything and you just want to stretch all the time. I feel like that all the time. And it sucks really bad. He looks like Jim Caviezel. He's a good guy. He really is. He does a great job on his show, and I'm bringing on a lot of big people on it. That was a nice chat. It definitely was. So let's take a look at the new comics this week, right? We're gonna start from the beginning. I haven't had a chance to read anything yet. Obviously, it's bright and early, but we've got Black Widow. I know this is the number one. With Thanos Rises, it's not something that necessarily interests me, and all of the Carnage ones aren't really something like just Marvel in general isn't something that I knew that I did read King the Conqueror #1, but it wasn't good enough for me to come back for #2. Oh well. Spider-Woman, yeah, I don't care. There's a new Busa. Is that a new character to people that are reading these Star Wars books? Like, what's a Busa? All right, sure, why not? We got The Last Annihilation Wakanda. Still not interested. It just doesn't. What is Sisters of the Battle? Warhammer. Nope. He meant the guy Matt Wagner, Mage Comics, looked like Jim Caviezel. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I was like, what? Okay, sure. I think Jim Caviezel is the guy that played Jesus, right? If I remember. Trial of Magneto #2. Doesn't it feel like the Trial of Magneto has been going on forever already? Like, and it's just #2. It is just #2, and I'm not getting it. I only read #1 because I was on Comics Aficionados, and it was part of what we were talking about, and it just wasn't that interesting. Would love to know who are reading those Star Wars books. I know Sean from Comics Elite reads and I don't know that he particularly likes them, if I remember correctly, but I'm not sure. Another good channel you guys should check out if you haven't yet. Curse the Banshee, Betty Page. You know, I love Betty Page. She's awesome as a character. And I've tried to read the comics separately 2 or 3 different times, and I just can't get into them. Okay, apparently that is not allowed to be seen. It is not safe for TV. Hello, Loki son. I'm back. I had to eat. You had to eat steaks at noon. All right. Okay. Red Sonja #1. That's been on my list for like 4 weeks in a row. Let's see if it actually comes out. I love this cover. That's gotta be Amanda Connor. It's gotta be. It's beautiful. So is that one. Those cosplay covers are so good sometimes. Ooh, and Frank Cho. Damn it, I hate wearing this metal bikini in a thunderstorm. I love it. You're not going to get into Betty. You're not going to get into Betty Page for the story. It's for the artwork. I tried. I did. I just the new Vampyverse is coming out, and that's I like Dynamite. I like some of the stuff, but Red Sonja is really the only one I've ever been able to get into. I might check out Vampyverse #1, but Vampirella might be one of those you don't get, and that's beautiful though. That is stunning. I really like that one. Oh, it's 5:10 p.m. here. That makes a lot more sense. I'm like, whoa. So from DC. Okay, that's just a trade. We've got Batman 89 #2. I didn't mind #1 at all. I like how they did it, and I like seeing the new Two-Face. But I think the Superman 78 was better in my opinion. I just know Betty Page was a pinup mono Lorenzo. I tried to like it. I really did. Batman Black and White. I didn't. That must be a trade because it's not coming out. The Detective 5 comes out. I don't think that's right. I don't know about this one. So Batman the World. I really want to get a physical copy of this. I don't know if you guys seen. Maybe we'll have time and I'll show you the trailer. If not, it's on the DC channel. Have you checked out? Wait, let me see here what you said. Spidey or Leo. Where is it? Have you checked out Shang-Chi versus the Marvel Universe? What is that? Marvel Universes? Is that a... No, I haven't. This isn't accurate. I didn't think so. I know you generally which one's coming out. That's not coming out. Urban Legends. So the only thing cool, not only thing, but isn't this the... Let me look. Isn't this the Urban Legends that that has the Batman Beyond story and the 1 million story and the Future State story? I would bet money that it is. Let me look. If I can get it to load up real quick. That Francesca Mattina cover, though. Ooh. Well, of course it's the Batman Beyond one. Oh my God, if I would have just looked at the cover. I'm not a little slow this morning or anything. It should have a... So I guess we've got Batman Beyond, Future State, Batman 666 and DC 1,000,000. Now that one, I'm gonna say I'm definitely interested in how they're gonna do it. That cover is beautiful. What else do we got here? That cover is not beautiful. What is that mess? Ew, I don't like that at all. Challenge of the Super Sons. I've already read all of that because that's the physical. This is not coming out this week. What is wrong with these people? Okay. I'm glad I know. Okay, so next time we're going to find a different website to use because this one is not accurate. Number 1 does come out, but it's already been out digitally. Definitely a recommend, and I've already reviewed it. It's so good. The Batman Beyond sets up a new book for next year that gives us yet another new continuity. Oh, yay, more continuity issues. Awesome. I am Batman number 1. I mean, I don't know. Are you? No, I'm definitely picking it up. I want to give it a chance. This cover though. Ooh, Francesca Mattina should just be the cover artist exclusively for DC, and I would buy them all. Who are your top 3 book or comic heroes? Ooh, heroes? They gotta be hero. Okay. So Batman, obviously. Heroes, really, heroes are hard. So you got Wonder Woman and Superman. Can we'll just call it the Holy Trinity? Now, if we're talking anti-heroes, that would be very different. That Greg Capullo cover is pretty nice. Last Ride. That does. Yeah, maybe that does come out this week. Maybe, yeah, I think it does. So I guess so. Okay. Pennyworth. Have you guys read the first one? I don't even know if this one's worth picking up because I don't watch the show. So I didn't read number 1. I just never got around to it. By heroes, I mean protagonists. Okay, so Batman, Red Hood, and Catwoman. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that answer. Just the Bat family's great, but I like Wonder Woman a lot too, but she doesn't even compete with the Bat family. So then we have Rorschach. Nope, big fat pass on that one. Rorschach ended so stupidly, so it ended like it began. I may check out the ending, but nope, not gonna. I was gonna pick it up on trade and read it. I don't know. I dropped it so long ago. This does not come out. This is really, really not updated. I'm glad I at least watched Bueller, so I know which ones are coming out. Joker does come out. It's been good. Okay, so Joker had a really, really strong start. Like, really strong start. Like, the first 4 issues were pure gold. And they kind of dropped off the last one. Like, I think it was like 6. He just like ate a pie. Okay. All right. Almost the backup's better. Like, it's Mirka and Dalfo, and I love Mirka and Dalfo. And it's such a shame when it comes to Mirka and Dalfo, because she's been in the business for a really long time. Super, super talented artist. Love her book. So I'm thinking her Sweet Paprika that came out. There's 2 issues out now. And I was thinking, this is going to be good. I'm going to give it a chance. And I'm like, it's Mirka and Dalfo. I love her. And then I'm like, what the actual fuck is going on? Like, I'm going to give it one more book, but it is not really like impressed me that much. And that's a shame because I really, really like her. Joker got real boring quick, right? I'm glad I'm not the only one. So Titans United, and until yesterday, I'm not kidding. So I did I do the solicitations videos, right? Every month. Until yesterday, I thought Titans United was connected to the HBO show. And then I just realized that they just picked the same characters and it has nothing to do with it. So I'm much more excited to read it now because the Teen Titans Academy show, the not show, the Teen Titans Academy book is terrible. Is absolutely terrible. So I'm glad there's something that might be good. What do we got here? Okay, that's a cover. Wonder Woman does come up. I really like this Wonder Woman. We just saw the death here, right? Dead man. I don't know, kind of, right? I don't know if this actually comes out. I'll have to look that up. Oh God, I don't want to read another one of those terrible YA books. They're so bad. They really, really are. Compass, Beyond or Deep Beyond something. I don't read either one of those. Homesick Pilots, another one I don't read. Jupiter's Legacy, yes, absolutely. The last one wasn't as good, but I think it's coming to a head. I think there's only 5. I can't remember if there's going to be 5 or 6, but we're kind of learning like why the aliens chose, like the story behind the aliens was kind of always a lie, and we're kind of learning why. And then leave it to Mark Millar to take it to the Uyghur Muslims, and big fuck you to China. I love it. I Spy Jupiter's Legacy. Which Wonder Woman series is it? It's the continuity. It's the mainline 779, the one by Becky Conrad or Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad. It's really good. I don't like the backup story. I will tell you that. Young Diana story, I skip it every single time. Yeah. So, what is this? What the fuck is this? I gotta click it. Man Eaters. Witchcraft for children. What? Okay. All right. Maybe because it's Halloween or something? Jupiter's Legacy was canceled far too soon. Yeah, like if you're going to do the whole prequel thing and like, oh man, I love Jupiter's Legacy. It's such a good series. And I felt like Netflix really fucked that one up by doing too much with the prequel. But if they're gonna do it, at least stick to it and actually give us the rest of the story and give people an idea as to what's going on instead of just being like, just kidding, it's over. We got you good, motherfuckers. I don't know what Monstrous is. I don't read that. Primordial. That is by Lemire, Jeff Lemire. I'm looking forward to that one. It's like they send a monkey into space, but instead of dying, the monkey, I don't know, lands on moon and makes a life or something like that. I could be wrong about that. I haven't read it. I mean, what do I have a wrench on accident? No, it's not an accident. But I think it's gonna be good. He does. I just read his Maze. Oh, it's so good. I really like it. Scumbag by Rick Remender. Yeah, hard pass on that one. I read the first one and it was disgusting and definitely not for me. This is another series that I slept on that Comics Elite, Drew from Comics Elite, when I did a video with him, was like talking how good it is. And I still haven't read it. I haven't. I just haven't read it. Walking Dead Recolored. Meh. Time Before Time. This is the last one. I didn't. Meh. I read the first one. I wasn't super impressed, so I didn't go back. Sometimes if it's like worth going back to, like if the first issue is okay, I will go to the second one and give it a fair chance. But it didn't even impress me that much. Let's see. Buffy. I'm not a Buffy person. Ma. I don't know what this is, but it looks interesting. She looks terrifying. That looks terrifying. I might check it out. Power Rangers. Yeah, big fat no. I know some people like Power Rangers, and it's just not something I've liked since I was like 10 and played Power Rangers and I was the Pink Ranger. Save yourself. No. No. That is terrible. I read one. Oh my god. It was painful. 7 Secrets, Tom Taylor's book. And then Wind I don't know if that's Wind or Wine, but it's James Tinian. And I really should check it out, but it's more like magic-y stuff and meh, not really my thing. Singing Go Go Power Rangers. Bermuda. I'm reading that. Here's the thing about that. The art is beautiful. The art is amazing. The story is boring. And it's really a shame that they wasted such a good artist on a boring story. Godzilla. Rivals versus Mothra. No, not my cup of tea. Same with Sonic. Turtle. Oh, Jenica. Nope. Usagi Yojimbo. I've heard good things about that, just not my thing. Animal Crossing manga. That just sounds so weird to me. So freaking weird. More manga, I guess. These are things I just don't read. What is she doing? Like her boobs would be on her face if she was in that position. Like, how is she's got French fries. She's got French fries. What the actual fuck? She has French fries behind her back. This bitch has okay. All right. I don't understand it at all. Blade Runner, not my thing either. Extraordinary, Snowpiercer. Oh, the prequel. Alrighty then. Oh, let me look. Leo. Wow, thanks for the wrench. That was unexpected. Great first show. Mike S. Miller is the next guest. And are you reading any Marvel books? Not this week, it doesn't look like. Thank you so much, Leo. I am reading Moon Knight and Amazing Fantasy. And I think that's it right now. Next Tuesday, I think it's going to be Mike Miller. If not, he's at least going to be on Ask the Experts. But what I want to do, kind of the whole reason why I wanted to start this, was there a lot of people that I went on for Ask the Experts that don't make sense to have on Ask the Experts. So I'm kind of using that for the more like professional people within the industry. And then I'm going to have, a guest person on here every week that would be somebody that might not necessarily be in the industry, but be around it, or, somebody that knows a lot, or, just loves it as an art form. So like I want to have BM on here. Definitely, for sure. She's awesome. And I don't know if I'm going to have Mike on here or Ask the Experts. He's a professional. I should probably save it for Ask the Experts. Porcelain. I read one. It wasn't for me. I think it's for like a 12-year-old girl, but the art, that's beautiful. I really like that. Behemoth, 9 Stones. Never heard of it. Good art though. Looks good. Nobody's Child. Samuel Sierra told me about this one. I'm going to check it out. It looks like it's about saving endangered species with a twist. So I think it, I don't know, it might be pretty good. Yen Press, some more manga. Blah. I can't read it. At least the covers. What is that? Night of the Cadillac. What is this? Now we have vampire teeth that are blinked out. Yeah, I am having Mike on. I just don't know if it's on here or Ask the Experts. I could probably leave it up to him. So Night of the Cadillacs, whatever that is. That's weird. All right. Oh, Trailer Park Boys. Yeah. No. I've seen like maybe an episode, but not No. I Make Boys Cry. That looks like and it's clearly not. Let me see. But it looks like the cover is John Royal. It looks like oh my god, what is his name? I wanted to say J. Scott Campbell. I was gonna say J. Jonah Jameson. What is wrong with me? Aftershock, Beyond the Breach. I'm reading that. It's pretty good. It's pretty decent. Capisci, the Dragon Incident. Not reading that. And then Clans of Bellari. Not reading that either. Better blinged out teeth than chains for hair. Oh yeah. Oh my god. Rose. God Killer, Tomorrow's Ashes. I will not buy anything from Black Mask anymore after they took down my video. I just absolutely won't. I did I don't know even if I can fight that. So I haven't. It was for white #1. So I'm just nope. And that's a shame because there are some books on there that I wouldn't mind. The vampire reminds me of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, right? Yeah, I wonder if they were kind of trying to do that. That makes a lot of sense. Hellboy one time. This is just a one shot. Family Ties. I was reading Young Hellboy and I dropped that too. It just wasn't that good. Savage Hearts. The House of Lost Horizons. I never heard of it, but I don't have any interest either. I guess that's not fair. I don't know anything about it. I tried reading Ninjak, if you guys remember how bad that interior art was. Yeah, no. I can't do it. Like, all of those covers are so beautiful. And it was so well done before. Remember, it had Dexter Soy and some other amazing artists on it. And now it's got what Javier Padulo, I think his name is. I could be wrong on that. Yeah, no, I can't do it. I just cannot do it. I tried. I can't. Black Myth, never heard of it. Second Coming. I can't believe that got a follow-up series. Like, that originally was supposed to be on DC, and people threw a fit for Second Coming. That's Mark Russell's book. And now it's getting a follow-up series. All right. The thing is that's not my. I like Mark Russell's Not All Robots, but that one, no, thank you. Fight Girls. I read one. The art's beautiful. It's Frank Cho, but it wasn't for me. I didn't care for it. It's just like Amazon's fighting each other to who is the best one. Moss. And we got Red Room 4. I thought that already came out. I guess not. I read 1 and 2. It is very, very oh my god, how do you describe it? Absolutely insane, gory, bloody, something you would never think of. And it came to you from Biscore. Okay, yeah, it's not bad at all. It's just very bloody. Nothing. I really dig pizza. We will find your hat. Well, that's good to know. And don't wear hats. Square Enix. Did you check out the Rurouni Kenshin live action movie series? I reckon. No, I haven't yet. I am so sorry. Xenoscope Possessive. I read 2. I'll probably continue with that series. It's definitely very weird, but I want to see what it does. Archie, not an Archie person. Black Czar. I don't know what the Adventures of the Mad Czar. Okay. Annie Bonnie. Okay. Tara, Witch of Black Rose, 124. All right. The Battle. We're getting kind of towards the end here. Noir is the New Black. Okay. More Manga Diary of a Manga Diary of a Male Porn Star. Alrighty. Okay. Harper Alley. Yeah, okay, I can read stuff. Goonies. I think we're actually at the end. Mad Cave has Battle Cats. Rick and Morty. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so that clearly wasn't quite exactly right. But I'm definitely looking forward to hold on one second. I had to cough, sorry. I didn't want to cough in the mic. I think I'm kind of looking forward to urban legends the most. I'm curious with the different kind of stories with the different time periods. Looks really good. And then well, of course, Superman and the Authority. I know a lot of people really don't like it, like it's weird and it's different, but it's I think it's pretty funny. So I am starting to feel icky. So I am going to jump off. Normally I'll go 2 hours, but I just feel terrible. So next Tuesday I will, and we'll go over new comics every week and have a guest host. But I will see you guys in the next one. Sorry for cutting it short. I just feel awful. Thanks for stopping. Bye.